Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Dev, where today we put the finishing touches on our little game about spreading a fictitious infection. Now last time we added ways for our player to infect the unsuspecting public. This included a sneeze attack, a cough attack, and a gaseous AoE, which would be spawned whenever an infected person quote-unquote died, aka turned into a roll of toilet paper. A lot of quality of life improvements were also made, and though the quality of the experience was improved, the gameplay still felt a bit lacking. Which brings us to today's plan. We will attempt to improve the infection aspect of the game. We'll add a chance for infected people to attack while not under the influence of the player. Then we'll add the gaseous AoE as an actual attack for the player to use. And to balance things out, we'll add some fun modifiers to the people to give the gameplay more variety. Sounds like a solid plan, so let's get to the coding. First, the attack script would need a new argument and a few tweaks. This way the people will be able to use the same code as the player to produce their own infectious attacks. It was somewhat of a hack job, I'll admit, but the changes ended up working. Adding a 50-50 chance for infected people to attack produced, well, infected people that would sometimes do an infectious attack instead of moving. And already the results showed how effective the change would be to spreading the infection organically, so to speak. So now that the infection could spread easier, it needed some balancing. 2 new sprites would be needed. One for a face mask and the other for, pants. So I guess all this time our people have been naked. Yep. Anyway, back to the people code. New booleans for a mask and pants were added. Then in the draw event, the mask, pants, or both would be drawn based on the state of their respective variables. And to make sure things weren't so 50-50, I skewed the chances for masks and pants to be present. Then, in the people's code, these new variables would disable certain attacks from being done. Masks would prevent coughing attacks, and pants would prevent what I just came to assume would be a deadly fart. Yes, our infection can now spread through farts. Why not at this point, right? On top of all of that, the distance of sneeze attacks for masked people would be reduced by half. The same restrictions were then applied to the player code, and there we had it, some variety to how the infection could spread, with the ideal candidate for a host being someone with no mask and no pants. So now that our gameplay had more depth, it needed some tweaking, because people were too immune, and it really slowed down the gameplay. So drops to immunity for people and increases to infection values were made. Also, the AoE attack was officially added to the code, making it the most effective way to spread the infection, but also the most damaging to infected who use it. The results were something far better than what we ended up with last time, and showed a ton of promise in terms of gameplay potential. And fun fact, for a while I thought the movement code had broke at some point, but in reality it was just random being not so random. Also, it was at this point I started noticing the code seemingly tearing at the seams, which was understandable given how hacky some of today's changes were done. There were definitely some wonky things occurring, like people's positions started offsetting, and just a general feeling of jank started to permeate. So I took that as a hint and quit while I was ahead. Which brings us to the end of our little project. I actually really like this idea and might revisit it sometime down the road with a better execution and planning. However, for now I'm happy with the results, but there's definite room for improvement. So hopefully next time things will go smoother and we'll get something even better. For now, that'll do it for this episode of Let's Dev, so leave a like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already, and leave your thoughts on our little infectious project in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, continue to stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.